Hello YouTube, it's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we are talking 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After Season 9 Episode 20 Tell All No Limits Part 2. So we're just gonna get on to it. So this episode was this part of the tell all was a lot less stressful than last week. I can say that it was less drama. I mean, we did have a little bit of drama, but it was more. This episode was more emotional. I actually got a little bit teary-eyed, and we'll talk more about why I did later. But we're gonna get into it. First things first, I'm just glad that the focus was off of Gina and Jasmine for once. We needed a major break from them. I guess in part 4 we'll get more of that again and everything, but yeah. But anyway, so we kicked things off where we left off last week with the Florida couples, going back and forth with their high school drama, basically. So we left off with Andre trying to challenge Alexi to a fight, and Lauren calling Andre a son of a whore and Israelin or whatever. Just a lot of back and forth, he said, she said, on who called Andre a horrible person. Oh, Lauren said this, Elizabeth said that, and everything. Elizabeth and Lauren were going back and forth on how they used to text when they were friends for 5 years about, I guess they would complain about their husbands all the time, just having little girl time conversations and everything. And they reminisced on that a little bit. And then, Elizabeth called out Jovi and Yara for being quiet, basically, because, they weren't saying nothing because it was just a lot of screaming between Andre and Lauren, basically. And, Alexi was just like, man, this is just ridiculous with snakes and everything. Now, Jovi claims that he did not start this and everything, and Yara called out Elizabeth saying that I didn't say that. Me and Jovi did not say that Andre is a horrible person and everything. We don't know how it was all said and everything. He is the D word, but nobody said that he was a horrible person or whatever. And it's just hard to explain. It was just a lot of back and forth, and we got no resolution to it. So Sean, the host, decided to call it a day. All right, look, we're going to call this a day, but when we come back in the next day or two, we're going to be talking to Lauren's friend, Noga. Ooh, she's coming on the tell-all? Ooh. 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 Ooh, I don't think she'll be in next week, but I think she'll be in part 4, maybe. Ooh. Ooh, that's going to be bad. So they call it a day, and everybody has to go back to the house. They go back to the house, and Jovi wants Andre and Alexi to squash their beef. So it starts out with, Lauren and Alexi are just back at the house. They're drained about what happened at the studio. Elizabeth is just screw this with Lauren. She's done with Lauren, period, and everything. So Jovi tried to get everybody together to try to talk about it and everything, and I guess Andre and Lauren were trying to talk about it and stuff and everything, and then it was brought up that Andre called Lauren and Alexia because they like to leave a situation all the time and everything. Didn't like that. And then here comes Elizabeth coming in yelling, and are we still really talking about this crap, basically? And Lauren's like, what is wrong with you? We're trying to figure this out and everything. And we just got nowhere. And Elizabeth and Andre just got up and left and everything, and we're like, well, look at this. Andre just said that he didn't like the fact that Lauren and Alexi walk away from situations, so now from stuff like this, and now they're doing it literally after he says that. Freaking hypocrites, basically. So we just got nowhere with the Florida 3, basically. And it's just it's high school stuff. Because remember a few weeks ago, Andre said that Jovi and Yara need to pick sides. Again, we're not in high school. They don't need to pick sides. They don't need to even be in this drama and everything. Yara just wanted to be friends with everybody because she needs some help in Miami, and so does Jovi. and stuff. Jovi wants to go back to Louisiana. He doesn't really want to live in Miami. And if he's going to live in Miami with these people, no. So anyway, so now we're doing some house shenanigans, basically. So they decide, Kara, Jasmine, Darcy, Julia, Brandon, Guillermo decide to play Truth or Dare, basically. And, they did some, like, vulgar things. Like, Brandon had to lick a doorknob, and Kara had to lick Darcy's boobs and stuff and everything. Kind of disturbing. Didn't need to see that, basically. Meanwhile, Elizabeth, Georgie, and Jovi and Gino were downstairs, and Jovi came up with the idea for Gino to, like, call, because I didn't mention, there's a couple things I didn't mention, because it was just so much for Gino and Jasmine. I left out a couple things. I forgot to mention last week that Jasmine gave, recreated her wedding, took her wedding ring and turned it into earrings for baby Matilda, basically, and everything. She also said last week that she does not want to marry Matt because she's scared that he'll, if it doesn't work out, will throw, "oh, you use me as a green card" type thing. And Andre called it out last week. I'm like, that's a really nice thing to say about the guy that just gave you a baby, basically, and everything. And I also forgot to mention last week, Gino had had phone records that he had mentioned throughout the season about the call logs, basically, of Jasmine and Matt and everything. And it was so funny that Sean had called Gino out and said, "you really need to put those in, like, a favorite folder." That was funny. So those were the things I forgot to mention in last week's episode. But back to this episode, Gino, Jovi said that, "do you have those papers? Let's call the number and let's see if Matt answers." Because also Matt was up there playing Truth or Dare with them and everything. So they called the number. There's no answer. They text the number. Someone said, "who is this?" and everything. So they decided to go spy on them and see what they were doing. And Elizabeth goes in and asks Matt, "have you been texting anybody tonight?" I'm like, "no, why?" "And you're not on your phone?" I'm like, "no, why?" And then she leaves. And it was nothing. It was nothing. So Matt basically changed his number, basically, and everything. So yeah, so the fun group was playing Truth or Dare. Somebody asked Matt on the Truth, like, or Jasmine on the Truth, like, "do you really love Matt the way you love Gino?" And she said, "the sex is great, the best ever." She always says that with people, but Matt's just like, "no, she doesn't love me the way she loves Gino." And, Jasmine has been on a rant this whole week on Facebook, like, just exposing some stuff with Gino, ex-girlfriends, and timelines and all that, which made zero sense. She did like 7 Facebook posts exposing the truth, and then her and Matt are even having little small problems and stuff. None of the stuff that Jasmine had posted made any sense and was really, really relevant to what they're going through in their divorce process. Like, she exposed Uncle Marco, saying that he had a DUI and that Gina needed to help the elderly man and only needed him to film. Then she brought up a text message from Gina's ex-wife from 2012, long before 90 Day Fiancé was even a thing, and everything. Jasmine, she's really disturbing. And I always said that she likes to really justify everything. And I said this to somebody, when people like to expose, like, personal things like that, what is their end game? What do they hope that happens to the person they're exposing? Are they hoping that somebody comes and attacks them and hurts them? Because a lot of people, when the relationships fail, I get everybody goes into revenge mode. Like, they want to get revenge. And, I've been through that too. Like, after ex has done me bad, I wanted revenge too. But you have to sit back and think. The best revenge on somebody is success. Okay, like I mean, in the moment, and when you're still going through a breakup, you're hurt and you're angry, you're sad, you're hurting. You just want like you always want your voice to be heard, and you want somebody on your side during that time. But we can't just get to the fact where we're like destroying somebody's life because like we're upset that the relationship worked out. People have jobs and stuff, and like their jobs like watch these kind of things and watch social media and stuff. These people could lose their jobs when seeing this stuff being exposed and stuff, because jobs, when they see that, well, we don't like your behavior, what we saw your behavior on, so we can't have you here. People who go on reality TV after they've been on a reality show a lot of times get fired from their jobs, especially teachers. Like people who are teachers who go on a reality show and they act up and stuff on the show, when they get back to school, they're gone. And that is sad. It shouldn't be like that. I mean, even teachers, yes, they're held to a certain standard, but they have their own lives too, and they deserve to find love and everything. So I don't really understand why Jasmine is exposing all of this stuff, because frankly, I don't really care. I don't really care. I'm not going to go attack Gina. I'm not even going to go attack Jasmine, basically. I'm not even going to comment. I don't comment on stuff like that. And I'm not going to go attack Gina and say, oh, Gina, you're a terrible person. How could you do this to Jasmine? You deserve the worst and all that. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not even going to do that to Jasmine on how she did Gina and stuff and everything. Because frankly, it realistically, I mean, I do these reviews and stuff to talk about it. But after that, I don't really care. I don't talk about this stuff with my friends and stuff. I don't be like, yo, telling my friends, yo, y'all should watch this 90 Day Fiancé. This Gina and Jasmine stuff is crazy. Gina did this and Jasmine did that. No. And even in people's personal lives, you don't have to like ruin their lives, like ruin their profession. Because even we go back to the Last Resort tell-all. Remember when Jasmine threw the shoe at Rob? And everything, and Jasmine was saying that Rob, Jasmine, Kay, and Sophie were saying like Rob was doing all that inappropriate stuff on OnlyFans and stuff and everything with somebody and everything and all that, and accusing him of being gay and stuff and everything. That stuff is just so like one is irrelevant. Two, I don't even care. Like I didn't need to know that. Did not need to know that. Don't really care. But again, like if Rob had a profession and stuff, and that was brought out, he could have lost his job for that. And what those girls don't realize is that just because they're upset with him because the relationship didn't work out or the marriage didn't work out, you don't go and ruin their lives and everything because you're in revenge mode. That's messed up, because now that's going to come back on you. So, as I said before, the best revenge on somebody, and Gina needs to realize this too, because he's still in revenge mode after going through all this. The best revenge on somebody is success. Gina has got to let Jasmine go. He can't just say, oh, Matt ain't going to get a freebie, because, again, this is what I forgot to mention last week, because it was just so much last week. Matt can't get a freebie. Jasmine has to go back to Panama, and then Matt has to apply for the K1 visa himself. It don't work like that, Gino. Just let her go, and you go be successful the way you want to be. You go get a new girl. You show the new girl that you moved on. Don't be like have lingering feelings for Jasmine. Find a new girl and everything. Don't argue with her. Don't let her argue with you. Do what she wants you to do. And be happy. Start a new career. You're in your mid-50s. Start a new career. Make some money, and just live happily ever after. Best revenge right there. You're succeeding. You don't need with Jasmine. Jasmine is going to do fine without you. If Jasmine wants to just bash Matt, and Matt wants to stick with it online, bash Matt online, and he wants to stick with her and the baby online, and Jasmine doing her little cooking shows online, if this is her success, then so be it. I don't agree with it, but yeah, just let your success be the revenge. That's all I can say. But I digress from that. So We didn't find nothing. Back to the tell-all. We didn't find nothing. Everyone goes to bed. Now it's part. Now we go back to the studio for day 2 of the tell-all in studio. The next couple in the hot seat was Kara and Guillermo. So it's been a while since we've seen Kara and Guillermo throughout the season because their scenes were cut short too, just like Tiger Lily and Adnan's. And throughout the season, I've with Kara and Guillermo, their scene because they were my favorite couple when we first met them, and I said the entire season that it was sad, and even during their segment was sad. Um, they're separated. They're not divorced. Like, Kara doesn't really want to get divorced yet and everything. She does want to make it work. I think Guillermo is kind of tapped out. They talked about how, Kara's basically, singer and doing her bachata stuff and traveling and everything. And Guillermo feels like that's been part of the demise of their marriage failing, because she would go out a lot. He mentioned that she would go out a lot till 4 in the morning after a show and everything, and hang out with that producer that she hooked up with back in 2011 and stuff and everything. Um, one big contention that they talked about in this segment was Kara's drinking. Kara, like, I guess really does have an alcohol problem. She drinks a lot. So she said that, the order to help the marriage, she would stop drinking. And that only lasted 2 weeks because Kara feels like Guillermo still wasn't trying hard enough to fix the relationship and everything. And she's like, oh, I'm making all this sacrifice and you ain't doing nothing. So the fact that you ain't doing nothing, I'm going to start drinking again, which made no sense at all because, I don't drink myself. And I don't drink for the obvious reason that the fact that I don't understand why people drink anyway, because it's not good for you. You're going to have problems with your body when you get older for people who drink, especially if you're addictive drinker. Just saying. To all the people, I ain't judging people who drink now. I'm not saying don't drink, but I don't drink for the fact that it ain't good for you. Hello, it's not good for you. She openly admitted, and Kara openly admitted that it's not good for you anyway, but she does it anyway. Sean asked him, do you feel like you have an alcohol problem? She's like, yeah, I've gone overboard sometimes and everything. And then they talked about the producer friend that she's always with. Back in 2011, she hooked up with this guy, and she said it was a one-time thing. Like, she didn't want it to happen, but it happened. She said, we're good friends. We were friends before. We're going to be friends after, but I don't want to do this again. I guess he ended up getting married and having kids, now separated. She got married to Guillermo and had a kid, and now she's separated. And she said something that just didn't really sit well with me. She said that, you know what, if I did call him and say, hey, let's hook up, there's no doubt in my mind that he would do it. Yeah, that's real comforting. That's real comforting. Yes, of course he would. Of course he would. And for any woman to say that, it's just, I've had that happen to me before too, and it's not it doesn't make you feel good. Whether they say, oh, because she went back and said, oh, I wouldn't do it. I don't want nothing to do with him like that and everything. That's what they all say. That's what they all say. But then, they say that, and then if Guillermo says, well, I'm done, we're getting divorced, that's going to be the person she calls. Mark my word, because a lot of people do that. Just saying. So they just went back and forth, and then they talked about her coming in at 4 a.m. They asked if there was the other way around. The only thing I agree with Kara was the fact that Guillermo didn't show up to a couple of her recent shows, and I understand why he didn't, but he's just really tapped out at this point, and like he just I do think Guillermo needs to but every time he does show that he wants to work it out with Kara, she always backs away. Just like last week when he touched her shoulder, and she's like, "Don't touch my shoulder like that," and everything. So I really don't know. Rumor has it they're going to be on season 3 of The Last Resort, but it's just sad on how it was and everything, and And when Guillermo said that you were the love of my life, she starts crying and everything. They wrote back a clip of something, and they just started crying basically. And it's sad. Like this had no business being like this. They really didn't have to like separate like this. I do think Kara just has gotten way over her head with her music and stuff and everything. And apparently her music industry is not paying well, basically. She said it's hard, it takes a long time to make a profit. Hmm. 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 Okay. So another thing that they talked about was that since Karen and Guillermo bought a house together, and they have like joint share of the property and stuff. They put their names, both names are under deed. With them being separated, Kara is feeling like she's gonna have to take Guillermo off the deed. Now, Guillermo said he's actually fine with that, basically. I guess like their financial agreement was like that, and then he pays the like gets the food and stuff and everything, and then it went into battle like who's doing more, who's paying more. But Guillermo's just like, I don't want any trouble. Like if she wants to take me out to eat, she can. Like I'm not gonna fight it and everything. So again, that's sad too, because again, when you're married, mine becomes ours basically. So I mean, it was really sad. I mean, I've said this the entire season on every scene with Karen and Guillermo in the early part of the season, that it's just sad. They really didn't need to separate like this. So Jovi said that Kara is actually the problem, 100%, because Guillermo made really valid points, like in his argument and doing his segment. And Kara didn't deny anything. She didn't, not once she didn't say that's not true or anything. She did not deny anything and everything, and really hardly much defended herself. So clearly she knows that she's in the wrong and everything. So I hate, I don't want people to think I'm always on the guy's side, because I feel like I'm very fair when it comes to these couples. If I'm on the guy's side of law or on the woman's side of things, I feel like I'm equally balanced, so no one can say one way or the other. But I'm Team Guillermo. Like, do I think he needs to like try harder to make it work and like beg and plead? Probably yes, but I think Carrot needs to accept it and everything, so, and let him. So we'll see how it plays out when they're going to be on the last resort. So, but yeah, it was just sad with Karen Guillermo. So after Karen Guillermo, now we turn our attention now to Brandon and Julia. And somebody let me know if Julia has had her baby yet, because I feel like this pregnancy has gone on forever. Basically, she hasn't posted pictures yet on Instagram if she's had the baby or not. Rumor has it that she did. Rumor has it that she didn't. Um, Maybe she's just waiting for after the tell-all. But somebody who digs deep, let me know if Julia has had the baby yet. So Brandon and Julia are in the hot seat. They opened up about their fraternity journey. They said that they've had a few miscarriages. I didn't know that. But then Julia finally, after like stressing about it, like putting more stress on herself, like a crazy person, tells everybody that she is 6 months pregnant. Finally. And you could see after she told everybody she was pregnant, everybody, like, she felt more relieved. And the whole cast like really comforting her. All the girls in the cast like gave her a hug and everything, which is really beautiful. And everybody just started crying basically. Everybody's really happy for Julia, and they're just telling her like take the help, like be supportive. Kara even said, "I'm in Virginia too. Like I will come and be there for 2 hours to help you if you need to and everything." Julia says that she didn't want to tell because like she has a high risk and didn't want to get excited, and then something happens to the baby. But they asked her, "Have you done any what ifs on it that everything will work out?" And she was like, "No." Everybody's like, "Well, you need to try that." Try thinking positive, Julia. And that's what I said last week. I said that, I have a sister who's had 4 kids, and all 4 kids were high risk pregnancies, and they're all doing just fine. Basically, you got to have faith and prayer and everything. So so they did that. Everybody was really supportive. Karen Guillermo started crying over that. It was really emotional and stuff. And then they decided to tell Julia's parents first before we bring on Ron and Betty. They decided to tell Julia's parents first on the pregnancy. So Julia asked Brandon, "Do you think we should do it?" He's like, yeah." So Julia gets on her phone and she calls her parents from Russia and everything. It's like late at night, and she made the whole cast say congratulations in Russian and everything. And Julia gets up and shows her little belly and that she's pregnant and everything. And they're excited. What? I can't believe it. Her dad even said, you're eating too much. Crazy. He's like, no, I'm pregnant and everything. And then Julia even and someone asked about did she get a boob job? She's like, no, I'm just pregnant, and she did a mini flash of her boobs. I was like, oh, Julia, and she's still Julia, and stuff. So yeah, she told her parents finally, again, a big weight off their shoulders. She said Betty and Ron, and she told her parents Betty and Ron don't know, so don't tell them yet. They're like, I won't tell them. So then now we bring on Betty and Ron. And they haven't spoken to each other in a while. I guess they missed Betty's birthday and they missed Father's Day and everything, and talked about the disconnect. Now Julia did say that she wanted to try to connect, but there has to be boundaries and stuff and everything. Originally, Julia was gonna lie to Brandon's parents about what they were doing, and the cast told them, "Don't do that. Like you got to take the help. You got to take the help. Don't lie. You really got to take the help that you need, because it's gonna be tiring and everything." Half the cast are parents. Elizabeth and Andre, Lauren and Alexi, Jovi and Yara, Karen Guillermo, Darcy, Jasmine and Matt. Everybody, only Georgie and Gino are not parents. out of that whole cast, only Georgie and Gino, and of course now Brandon and Julia, but are not parents. Everybody else there is a parent, so they know, basically, Julia. So listen and take the help that you can get. And so we left off with Julia saying, we are lying, we don't tell. And it was like, what? And we left off with the cliffhanger on that. So, yeah, that was basically it. Again, it wasn't as dramatic as last week. I needed to cool down from last week anyway. So I'm glad it was like that. I think judging by the previews of next week, we'll see what's really going to happen with Jasmine and Matt, what Matt's doing behind the scenes and stuff and everything. We'll have Darcy and Georgie in the hot seat. There was a moment where Georgie was irritated that Kara licked her boob back at the house, and he was telling everybody. And then I guess Andre had asked Georgie about him and Darcy's sex life, and they said that they're both boring, basically. But I guess Darcy and Georgie went to get their groove on or whatever. Don't really care. Y'all already know how I felt about Darcy and Georgie this season. So, but anyway, that was the end of my review. I can't wait. Again, parts 2 and 3 are going to be chill, but I guess from what I understand, part 4 is going to be just like part 1, basically. And I really hope not, because I can't deal with the drama. I'm tired of the drama. But anyway, guys, that is the end of my review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Share this friend with a friend or 10. I'll be back on tomorrow to recap 90 Day Fiancé the other way. So until then, y'all stay safe and have a good one. Bye, y'all.